Shang leads the field around the final turn up towards the starting gantry, and we're about to get 12 laps of racing underway any moment now here at Macau. The red lights are on, they go out and the pedal goes down, and it's a good start by both BMWs on the front row of the grid. Just the advantage held through turn one for Changchen Shang. The rest of the field all get safely around the corner, and it is the pole position car which has made the best of starts, but the number 79 car of Maxi Lock has gone into second place, demoting the BMW down a place, so a very, very good start by Moxie Lock.
Already 7 places gained by Chris Shaw. Look in the background, he's midfield already. A brilliant getaway, and he's not done yet as trying to fight back. Look, as they come down towards Lisboa there on the outside line goes Chen Sun Cheng. He's taken his place back right around the outside, goes second. Great stuff. The leader, though, getting away already is Changchen Shang. There is Kish Cha, another place gained. He is on a mission.
Absolutely flying on the first part of the lap, which was absolutely what he needed to do from the very back of the grid. Everything so far has gone according to plan for Chris Cha, and that's the race leader. Everything has gone according to plan for the race leader as well. Changchen Shan in car number 88 leads the fields up through the left-hander at Teddy Ip onto the Solitude S's, and we just got, before the camera changed there, a glimpse of the black and gold machine of Chris Cha. Exactly, David, what he needed to do.
Absolutely right. So then as the cars then make the wriggle through the Solitude S's for the first time of asking, BMWs 1 and 2. McLaren on the prowl as well there. Look, the car of Ip Hun Ho. But Chris Cha will be working his way forward. A podium beckons for him, but maybe not a win, given the way that already Changchen Zhang is going to try and pull clear of the rest of them. It's a great battle, though, going on behind, isn't it, here between Mercedes and BMW, because once more, having to work hard is Moxie Knock. He's got them queued up behind him, and there, 99 Evan Mack runs on his tail. But as they make the climb, Chris Cha coming out of Moorish was having a go for a place just in the background.
Wow.
The Mercedes, if a car can breathe in, it must have done so, because he was trying to level with the opposition and it didn't quite work. He's on the back, look, of the Nick Lai BMW, but Chris Cha is absolutely charging. What an opening lap, because look, 2nd to 6th, they're almost together.
You could see how focused he was when the camera was by the side of the car. He didn't deviate, he didn't look away. Absolutely focused on the job in hand, and that was exactly what he needed to do on this opening lap. The opening lap was absolutely vital. I'm not sure it could have gone any better if he'd tried. He's having a look at the BMW. The number 11 BMW pulls out to one side. Another place is about to be made up. It's going to become a little bit more difficult now, and he just gets the position and makes the manoeuvre stick. So another place made up at the completion of lap number 1.
He's going to be 6th, isn't he, across the line then? So
yes.
The BMW goes through 17th to 6th in one lap. Up front, it is Changchen Shang ahead of Chen Sun Cheng. Then Moxie Knock 3rd, Evan Mack is 4th, Ip Un Ho 5th, Chris Cha up into 6th, Nick Lai, the blue and white BMW, there 7th. But look at the gaps that have opened up already between 1st and 2nd and 2nd and 3rd, and that's what Chris Cha is going to try and address once he's got past the McLaren here of as they come down towards Lisboa. Ip Un Ho, he's going to try the outside line. He brakes ludicrously late. Is he going to be able to go right round the outside? He is. Wow, that was very brave indeed. Chris Cha has done it.
And I'm not sure that was the calculated manoeuvre, but it absolutely worked. But it looked as if it might have gone horribly wrong at that point. But that's how determined he is to make up these places and make them up nice and early, and committed to that position. Looks like he's threatening for another position as well. He's got 12 laps in which to do this. Let's not see it go wrong when they're on the twisty mountain section.
But he's pushing because he needs to get through. We're making the point. He can see cars getting away in the distance. He's got to take any opportunity he can to get through the traffic to try and minimise the time lost early on. And he's a bit stuck now, you're absolutely right, but not for the want of trying.
Evan Mack, it is in front in the 99 BMW.
Yeah, there they come, nose to tail down the hill as the Mercedes then fights and fights and fights. So they close up, coming through police towards Moorish. There is Moxie Knock, who is 3rd. And Chris Cha again has a look to the inside line, trying to unsettle Evan Mack. There's surely not room for them. He does back out of it, but he's serving intent just about everywhere now as they head towards Donna Maria.
He certainly hasn't had a look at the book entitled Places That It's Probably Best Not to Try and Overtake on the mountain section at Macau, because he has tried everywhere, hasn't he, or at least shown his intent. And maybe the thinking behind that, although he knows that's not potentially going to be a place that he's going to make up a point, but it's applying the pressure to the car in front to hopefully get some kind of a missed gear, a missed apex, something that offers an opportunity. It's just applying pressure. The reason being that the race leader has such an advantage already. 3.5 seconds at the end of lap number 1. Lap number 2 is now complete. Is the Mercedes going to get past the BMW? No, but just closes up onto the back of the car as it comes up towards the line to complete now. 2 laps in the book. And on the run down towards turn 1, is the Mercedes going to get past the BMW? No, slots in behind as they come into view. This has been a great opening couple of laps from Chris Charr. Now he makes the move, pulls over to the left-hand side of the circuit. The car bouncing over the bumps down towards the turn and makes the place stick. So it really has gone very, very well indeed, hasn't it, for Chris Charr?
And that was on the outside line. I mean, that was brave. It was the longer line. Not only has he got past the BM, look at the gap he's pulled, even by the end of that one straight down towards Lisboa. So that puts Chris Charr now up into 4th. I think I said a podium beckon for him. Well, let's see, because there he's almost now with Moxie not for 3rd place. He's only just been released from behind the BMW, and he's almost caught the similar Mercedes. So it's BMW 1-2, it's Mercedes 3-4, and this is lap 3. Look, they're together. It is an 8-wheeled Mercedes AMG GT4. They are so close now as they come through the Teddy Yip corner to the Solitude S's. Moxie Knock is in 3rd place, but I don't think he's going to be able to hang on much longer, because Chris Charr right now is unstoppable.
This is exceptional performance, isn't it? There are 2 laps completed of a 12-lap race to be fighting for a podium position on lap 3. Wow, just wow. The car started on the back of the grid. The car has been pacey all weekend. It's been one of the cars that we thought potentially could have been on pole position. It was the BMW that just nipped in time and took pole position and took the race victory as well. They turn into police, 2 Mercedes as 1. A lot of pressure there, and the Mercedes goes through on the run into Moorish. The Mercedes goes through.
Moxie not let him go, didn't he? He knew that car was
Didn't
quicker.
fight. Yeah.
And no, fair play, moved out of the way and gave him racing room. So Chris Charr goes through. He is on a mission. Yeah, okay, he was helped there, but he would have got past anyway sooner or later. But the good news from his side is that it's sooner. And look, straight away he pulls clear. So now the target of the BMWs up front. Chen Zuncheng will be the first target. Then this man leads the way. Chang Jianshang up towards the completion of the lap comes 88 then. So the BMW from Harmony Racing that dominated the race yesterday comes through, and that looks like Dickie Chung's Ginetta in the wall, not for the first time this weekend. Yellow flags wave.
Oh dear. And we were hoping that it was going to be a successful race yesterday. It was, and we were hoping it because that would have been the first trouble-free session out on circuit for the entire duration of the 2 days that we'd had thus far. And unfortunately, day 3 has not gone well for the Ginetta. It's the Ginetta that you can't miss, isn't it? The pink and white machine. And now we're seeing the Mercedes closing, ever closing. We've got that car out on track, and goodness me, this has been very, very exciting for the opening 2.5 laps.
Chris Charr lapping at the moment quicker than anybody else out there. The fastest lap so far has been done by the leader, but last time Chang Jianshang was nearly 3 seconds slower, so he's doing 2:38s. Chris Charr 2:37s, but the man he's chasing 2:41s. So Charr for 2nd place is inevitable. Yeah. It might even happen by the end of this lap that he can tee himself up for the move as the rest of the field file through. So we're looking there, 2nd and 3rd. BMW, Chen Zuncheng's car, and it's on borrowed time.
Yeah, because the Mercedes closing, you can see the speed differential as they close up together on the mountain section down towards the left-hander at Teddy Yip, the wall on the left-hand side, the barrier on the outside of the corner. They disappear from view, come back into view, and the Mercedes has a look and sweeps through past the BMW.
Well, that was pretty easy, wasn't it?
Because the 34 car has come to a stop. So there was a problem for the car. It had slowed. It did rather look a little bit too easy. And there is a problem for the erstwhile 2nd place car of Chen Zuncheng.
So Chris Charr then released it's all falling into his lap, isn't it, really? Cars stopping with problems ahead of him, or drivers getting out of his way and letting him have an easier ride. But now it's going to be really tough because he was 17 seconds behind the race leader. There's the stricken BMW. More yellow flags fly. So Chris Charr up into second spot. Now, can he do anything about bringing down 17 seconds? Do you know what would really help him right now with two cars stationary on the circuit? It would be a green BMW with flashing lights, wouldn't it, to bunch everybody up?
Do you think that might happen?
Let's wait and see,
a BMW helping the Mercedes?
Well, the safety car is a BMW, the race leading car is a BMW, but we've got two cars stranded trackside. But the point behind all of this is that to bring down a gap of 17 seconds is asking a lot, but if the safety car came out and bunched up the field, that would be of huge benefit. There, Moxie Nock is in third place, fourth is Evan Mack, and fifth is Ip Un Ho behind in the McLaren. That gives you a great idea of how the variety is in GT4. Different shapes, different sizes, the almost touring car shape of the BMW, the supercar shape of the McLaren.
And they compete side by side, which is exactly what they're looking to do, with the McLaren just having a look as they come up towards the completion of 4 laps, with Evan Mock defending and still in front, the number 99 BMW of the McLaren. And the McLaren has to just slot in behind. And thus far, we've not had to have a safety car intervention to recover those two cars out on circuit.
But you know what? You might not need it if you're Chris Charr, because the gap went from 17 seconds to 11.9. So as there to the inside line goes Ip Un Ho. He tries to get up the inside of the BMW, really had to stand on the anchors there to avoid contact, and as a result has to drop it down an extra gear. He loses momentum coming out of the corner and the gap stretches. Last lap through, Chris Charr 2 minutes 36, the leader 2 minutes 41. So it's partly, I think, that Chang Xian Shang is driving within himself, but Chris Charr is throwing everything at this.
We have a race on our hands, don't we? And it has been a thrilling race so far. The car that is in the colours of the title sponsor, MGM, the black and gold machine from the back of the grid, number 36, Chris Charr, has been incredible to watch. The BMWs have been going so well and have been so dominant. We've got this battle now between BMW and McLaren. It's the battle for 4th place. We've got the stricken Janetta of Dickie Chan on the outside of the circuit there. They know that car is there. Are they going to be able to continue with the other BMW, the 34 BMW, the car that was in second place? That car came to a stop just as the Mercedes came through. It's almost like the BMW said, oh no, I know you're really quick. Actually, I'm not going to go anymore.
Terrified into submission.
I'm afraid so.
Being given a tough time right now, look, is Moxie Nock with the Evan Mack BMW flashing its lights there, saying, get out of the way. Well, Moxie Nock is fighting for position. He didn't put up as much of a fight to Chris Charr's Mercedes, granted, but he's the cork in the bottle at the moment. The Mercedes repelling the challenge of the BM, which has then been caught by the McLaren, and then Nick Ly's BMW coming into the Melco hairpin there in 6th place, the blue and white car. Road opens up, down through Black Sands they come. And the McLaren of Ip Un Ho still then trying to find a way ahead of the BM. It came close to doing so at Lisboa a lap ago. Is he going to be able to try again on the next lap? They're about to start it. The top two have gone through. Okay, follow my maths here. 17 seconds, then it became 11.9. Now it's 6.5 between the top two.
Wow, and we are on lap 6 of 12. It is the half distance lap. And as we say so often, anything can happen at Macau. However, we've got half a race distance left to go, and Chris Charr from the very back of the grid has only required that part of the race, the first half of the race, to get within that margin of the race leader, which is incredibly impressive. Very, very impressive indeed.
Is that another BMW with a problem?
No,
it is. It's Kelvin Leung's back marker BM, isn't it?
Yeah, and just being overtaken by the race leader. I wonder if the car had just backed off knowing the race leader was coming through.
Possibly, but its laps have been very, very slow. It's best a 3:23. It's nearly a minute off the pace.
Yeah.
It retired with mechanical problems yesterday, and we know that Kelvin Leung, who's won the road sport race in the past here, is a pretty handy peddler. So there's something not right with that car. It's been plaguing it all weekend, so it does have a problem. There's Chris Charr that's gone through as well, through the traffic, and there is the now lapped BMW from the Solvang Racing team. So the lead gap down from 17 to virtually 12 to now 6.5 seconds. Now, is this that Changchen Zhang just can't go as quickly, or is it that he's quite content to relax his pace, keep out of trouble, and turn up the wick if required towards the end of the race?
So the BMW, it's been the car to beat in race trim this weekend. The 88 car turns through the left-hander, heads up towards Melco hairpin. The no overtaking zone on its own at the moment, but like a bullet into shot comes the Mercedes in second place. Wow, the speed on the approach to the Melco hairpin. There is a job yet to do for the car that started on the very back of the grid. There is also a job to do for the McLaren that is, we've been watching of Ip Un Ho in the McLaren, currently in fifth place. That great battle with Moxie Lock and Evan Mack and Ip Un Ho, because Ip Un Ho is the top Macau driver. So the honour at stake for the local driver, and quite a car park up at the Melco hairpin.
That was the two Macau drivers getting together, wasn't it? Ip Un Ho being hit by Nick Lai behind him as they all concertinaed. Just intrigued to see what the lap time is going to be on this next lap of the race leader. It's another lap in the 2:41s. So the lead gap now is down to 2.4 seconds. This is game on, isn't it? Now from 17 to 12 to 6.5 to 2.4. It's an astounding effort, but why are the lap times, relatively speaking, so slow for the leading BMW? Because he'll know that the gap is coming down and there's half the race just under to go. Can he turn up the wick? Can he get away? Or is now the BMW stuck at a pace that he can't improve upon?
And also bear in mind that the race-leading BMW has also the overall fastest lap of the race so far, which was a 2:35.279. 2:79 compares to the last lap for Chris Char of 2:36.153. The pace has dropped off for the BMW, hasn't it?
That's my point. Is it a problem, or I thought initially he was just driving within himself, but now that the Mercedes is within 2.5 seconds, you think he'd be pushing on again. As they're a little bit wide goes Ip Un Ho, and he's dropped away from Evan Mack, and he's got his mirrors absolutely full of Nick Lai and the BMW then as they come up the hill. San Francisco Hill, this section of the circuit, but up front the lead gap has been coming down and down and down absolutely remorselessly between BMW and Mercedes, and if Chris Carr could win this up from the back of the grid, it will be quite some result, wouldn't it?
Happy sponsors, that's for sure, and a very happy driver as well. We saw the Focus down there on the grid, all the way on the back of the grid, looking, you can imagine what that would feel like for a car that you know is going to be running at the front, to be looking at the back of every single other car on the grid before the start of the race. Around this circuit, notoriously difficult and technical and hard to pass, well, he knew what the job was. He had to get himself absolutely in the right frame of mind before this race, and we saw part of that focus before we got the race underway.
Indeed so, as there Nick Lai in the BMW closes again onto the tail of Ip Un Ho for the honour of not only fifth in the race, but also of the top Macau driver. Through police they come up towards Moorish and then up towards Donna Maria. This is the approach to that long looping left where the BMW closes again onto the back of Moxie Knock. But what's going on for the race leaders we'll see in a moment, no doubt, because the BMW up front being reeled in. It's just gone across the timing line, and the new fastest lap of the race, 2:34. So the gap is up to 3.3 seconds. Chris Char, in fairness, has done a personal best at 2:35.7, but the lead gap stretches up a little bit. So it was, I think, therefore, Changchen Zhang driving within himself, and now he's decided enough is enough. Let's just start to push again.
Yeah, we think the car's okay if it can put in the fastest lap of the race at 2:34.8, with the Mercedes now 3.3 seconds behind at the end of 7 laps out of 12. 7 laps completed around the gear circuit here on Grand Prix Day. Make no mistake about this. We talk about the sponsors. We've been talking about the sponsor winner of this Greater Bay Area GT Cup MGM, and of course the logo on the side of the car that's been working its way through the field from the back of the grid. But all of these drivers have put deals together to be racing this weekend. It's on a world stage. We've got a side-by-side battle as the 11 BMW, the McLaren relinquishes the place, the BMW makes up the place, so the number 11 car of Nicholas Lai just ahead of the McLaren.
So he goes fifth and becomes the leading Macau driver in the race as well, and having got through, starts to break away, doesn't he, by 3-4 lengths, even before the Lisboa right-hander there. So good pass that by Nicholas Lai at the fast section of the circuit going down towards Mandarin. Brave stuff. So now it looks as though order is being restored up front, doesn't it, with the efforts of Chang Shenchang to build the advantage once more over Chris Chia in second place. Still third, Moxie Knock doing a very good job of defending that third place from Evan Mack, and now there up into fifth place Nicholas Lai in the Tonleng BMW as he heads down the hill then from Teddy Yip on through the Solitude S's.
Is there a problem for the McLaren?
Possibly.
It just
Possibly.
I mean, the BMW's got through and it appears to be flying, but the McLaren seemed, relatively speaking, now the BMW's got past, to be really quite slow on that occasion. It may have been just the camera angle that we had, but now the 11 car has got up into fifth place. We can't see the McLaren, can we?
No, it's fallen away quite markedly. You're absolutely right. So need to keep an eye to that. But this is the leading car, and the gap hasn't shot up massively. There's a flash of the lights there to the back markers to say, do not think about getting in my way. But Chris Chia, so near and yet so far, just cannot do enough now to bring down that gap. This car's been quick all weekend, so he's fighting a bit of a losing battle in a sense, because he needs to find some pace, but he might be able to because he's now done his own and the race's fastest lap. So Chris Chia now does a 2:34.294. The gap's down to 2.5 seconds once more. So it was down, it's gone up, it's come down again, and the back marker has been dispensed with. The Lotus Exige with the indicator on, trying to get out of the way. Here comes Chris Chia then, quickest man in the race. He can see the leader, always that extra motivation. And does that spur him on yet more? Well, he's doing everything pretty much that he can here. He's absolutely on the limit, isn't he? Through Lisboa he goes. There's the BMW. Yesterday we saw how close he got on the mountain course, and this is where the Mercedes, with all of that torque, all of that grunt up the hill, is going to be a strong car.
Both the BMW and the Mercedes giving the driver of number 14, Leung Kin Ong, loads of notice that they were on their way. The BMW flashing its lights very early on, as soon as it came into view, really. And so too the Mercedes of Chris Chia as well, because they both know how vital it is to get their way past the slower cars, the cars that are going a lap down, as quickly and as neatly as possible.
So there's Chris Chia making the run on this 9th lap of the 12, back into the yellow flag zone because he's got to negotiate the Ginetta that's stricken by the side of the racetrack. The green lights are there saying all is good as he comes out of that element of the circuit, and as he pushes, he can at certain parts of the track see where that BMW is up the road ahead, but not here. He can't, going down towards Police, and then up the hill. This is towards Moorish. The Moorish Hill section of the circuit, oh so narrow, and the BMW is there. You can see it again. So more motivation as they head up the hill towards Donna Maria. The BMW disappears round the corner first. There is Chris Chia, a little bit deep into it maybe. The car twitches as he tries to get back towards the apex. The run towards the Melco hairpin now. Down, down, down through the gears. Third, fourth, fifth together. Evan Mack still stuck behind Moxie Knock, but being caught by Nicholas Lai. So Mercedes versus BMW again here. This time it's the BMs, plural, trying to get ahead of that Mercedes. And Moxie Knock has done a really good job of defending.
He really has, because he's been under race-long pressure, be it from whichever car was directly behind, but he hasn't put a wheel wrong. And the idea is that if you run that close, then the idea would be that an opportunity will be presented just by a little missed gear, a missed apex, something that goes not quite right because of the pressure you're under. But it's been absolutely inch perfect, hasn't it? Hasn't been intimidated at all by the close running behind. Looking in front. So very often driver coaches say, look in front, and don't make a mistake. And it's paid off on that final section, hasn't it, on the run down towards Melco. A little bit of daylight has been put between the Mercedes and the pursuing two BMWs. Down they come through Black Sands, through Fisherman's, and then on to the final turn. The race leaders have already been through and completed now 9 laps out of 12.
And the gap is down again, 2.1 seconds, less than ever, between Chang Chen-Xiang and Chris Shah in second place. This is third. Moxie Knock trying to break any slipstream effect that he might be giving. You see the way the nose dips then as he hits the brakes and turns into R bend. A rather wider entry to the corner than evinced by Evan Mack, but it works for Moxie Knock because he comes out ahead, and by an increased margin through he goes third. Fourth, Evan Mack. There, fifth is number 11, then the BMW, Nicholas Lai, and Nick Lai comes out of reservoir down towards Mandarin, getting closer and closer and closer to the tail of the Toro Racing BMW. This shows you not only the speed of the car, but how bumpy certain sections of the Macau circuit are. The BMW's fourth and fifth, then down towards Lisboa they come. But remember, the 2 race leaders now, with only 2 laps to go, are looking strong. Sorry, 3 laps to go, I should say. And there, Nicholas Lai dives up the inside, contact inevitable, turns Evan Mack around and blocks the road briefly. Evan Mack gets going, and Nicholas Lai tried to get past, and Evan Mack said, "You're joking. Don't even think about it after that move, matey." Door closed, and Evan Mack keeps his place. Nicholas Lai's got to do it all over again.
It's almost like nothing happened. They're in the same order. They get going once again. We're back to the Mercedes in second place of Chris Char, and that was inevitable, wasn't it? And I have a feeling that's how they have allowed Moxie Knock in the Mercedes to pull away a little bit because they were so busy battling the battle of the BMWs.
Mistake made there by Chris Shah, too deep, too late on the brakes into the Melco hairpin. The leader got caught up in traffic, and Chris Shah arrived on the scene, but he braked so late, ran out wide, and has lost, I would say, a second or so at least. There's the leader who's got through the traffic, but yeah, you're right about the battling BMs. That's played right into the hands of Moxie Knock, but the zealotry there from Chris Shah has played into the hands of the task-wheeling BMW. Again, it's on the ragged edge, isn't it, as it comes over the line, but right now, Chang Chen-Xiang goes through a lap in the 2:35s. Chris Shah behind him sorts out the traffic and did lose time. Yep, he's lost 1 second.
A second. Yeah, exactly right. Well predicted. And as they come across the line, they have this lap and one more till they see the checkered flag. And you made the point about the BMW tyre squealing. That's the first time I've heard the tyre squeal. So it really is pushing on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Using every part of the car, every independent component of the car, absolutely to the maximum. Because the BMW driver that leads knows that the Mercedes is right there to pick up any problem that may happen. It could be in traffic, it could be any kind of problem, it could be tyres going off towards the end of the race. They are on lap number 11 out of 12. Fastest lap of the race is held by the car currently in second place, the Mercedes, that has come from the very back of the grid. A 2:34.294 compares to a 2:36.860, including that little problem up at Melco on the last lap for Chris Char in the Mercedes. But it's Chang Chen-Xiang in car number 88 that leads. And what of this battle between the BMWs? Well, thankfully, they're a little bit further apart this time, but I'm not sure it's going to be the same story as they get down towards Lisboa. Scene of the incident on the previous lap. And the pursuing Top Macau driver, Nicholas Lai, once again closes right up on the boot of the BMW and jinks out to the left-hand side of the circuit. And frustratingly, we didn't see how that final approach to Lisboa was going to play out. But now we do, and this time, much cleaner.
Well, there's the leading BMW, having just got through traffic once more. That point you make about tyre squeal, something else just to factor in, of course, about tyres, is that this race has gone through without a safety car, so they've been at race pace all the time. It's a longer race today than yesterday. Has tyre preservation been a factor? And therefore, we know that Chris Charles worked his tyres very, very hard indeed. Has that been why, to an extent, Chang Chen-Xiang's lap times dipped in the mid part of the race because he was looking after the rubber and he's got the life left in them now to be able to push should he need to?
But you can hear it on a number of the corners, and I hadn't heard it so far during the race, but it's not to say it wasn't happening, but you can hear it again around the final turn, going on to the final lap of this 12-lap race for the MGM Greater Bay Area GT Cup. The BMW leads around, and it takes a little while for the Mercedes, the pursuing second place Mercedes, to come into view. What's the gap at the end of lap number 11? 4.1 seconds between the top two as they go onto the final lap, with the Mercedes of Moxie Knock just in front of the BMWs, and we are on the final lap of the race. Both of the top two cars in the same frame on the run down towards Lisboa, up towards San Francisco Hill. The race leading BMW turns through the corner for the final time. The Mercedes in shot, but I have a feeling Chris Char can be, even in second place, very, very happy with the job he's done.
Yeah, he's given it his best shot. I mean, the gap, as you say, widened again at the start of this last lap, but it's been a really good drive by Chang Cheng. There he is, on target for the race win. And Sean Zhang, to give him his westernised name, heads down the hill. But Chris Char up from last on the grid, threw everything at it. He got to within 2.1 seconds, couldn't improve upon that. But from the rear of the grid around a circuit like this, it's been a mighty drive. But equally, hat tip to the man that's dominated qualifying and both races in the BMW from the Harmony Racing stable. There he is, because win number 2 of the weekend is going to go the way of Chang Cheng, and the leader accelerates now down towards Police, brakes, turns the car through the right, makes the climb up towards Moorish, and over these last couple of laps has just been able to up the pace ever so slightly, just to make sure that Chris Char is not going to get close enough to be a threat. Towards Donna Maria comes the BMW, and a second victory of the weekend beckons for Chang Cheng within the MGM Greater Bay Area GT Cup. However, Nicholas Lai isn't done yet, is he? Gets it wrong into Lisboa. That generated more task wheel, and Evan Mack gains a couple of lengths over him.
They're still going at it, the two BMWs. They've given us quite a bit of entertainment during this race. The race leader, meanwhile, I think this is potentially one of the classic stories of controlling the gap at the front of the field, controlling the race, looking after every component of the car. And Chang Cheng, although he knew that potentially his greatest rival was starting on the very back of the grid, knew that in the middle section of the race, he had to look after the car and look after the tyres up towards the line. And the checkered flag goes the way for the second time this weekend of Chang Cheng. Car number 88 takes the win in the BMW, and flashing the lights on the Mercedes quite right too. A super race from the back of the grid for Chris Char. He can be very happy with that performance. Didn't take the win, albeit he came from the back of the grid and took the second step of the podium. Be very pleased with that.
Indeed so, and it's been the talking point of the race, hasn't it? Great drive by Chris Char there for the race win, though. Chang Cheng, excellent drive in the BMW. The BMW association with Macau, whether it's been in GT races or the gear race, continued to get another victory. And you get the feeling, don't you, that advanced 12 months, the GT4 grid is going to be absolutely brimming. Yeah,
you do get that impression. And here the support for our race winner around the circuit on the slowdown lap. Oh no, the number 14 car has come to a stop on the final lap, Learn Kin Ong, and that car has come to a stop. The marshals indicating for everybody to keep out the way, and so too a great race for Moxie Knock. We're under so much pressure for so many of the 12 laps, and in the Mercedes about to take third place. Well done, congratulations, super race for Moxie Knock. And then the BMWs, I wonder if they're still talking to each other now. Well, only one headlight's working on the number 11 car now. Nicholas Lai,
who drove a very good race there, Nicholas Lai. He did start 4th on the grid, so in terms of the result, he's gone backwards, but he was one of the more feisty drivers, wasn't he, in that race? He was quite prepared to get stuck in and try and make things happen, and happen they did, hence the damage on the front right corner of the BMW. But he fought his way to be the leading Macau driver, getting up ahead of Yu Ho in the McLaren. It did finish, but a rather delayed 8th. So you were asking the question as to whether it had a problem. Yes, it did.
Right, was it? Yeah.
It did soldier on, but at a slightly hobbled pace.
So became third Macau driver in 8th place. Second Macau driver was Luman Kitts, and Nicholas Lai, as we've said, in 5th place overall, car number 11. The top Macau driver as our race winner, Chang Cheng on the slowdown lap. acknowledging the marshals around the circuit and about to enjoy the post-race celebrations down in Park Fairmate, and so too there'll be celebration for Chris Charr in the Mercedes through the Macau hairpin past the marshals, traditionally waving all the flags on the slow down lap, showing their appreciation for the drivers, and vice versa, the drivers thanking the marshals for all they do for this event to allow us to race as safely and as speedily as we possibly can. So that's it. That's your top 2 drivers on the podium for the MGM Greater Bay Area GT Cup, the BMW of Chang Chen Shang. 2 race wins over the course of this weekend, and right up behind him from the very back of the grid, 17th on the grid, the 9th row of the grid, Chris Charr in the Mercedes, recovering after a troubled race, 8-lap race for race 1 of the weekend. Into pit lane, the top 2 go, and their advantage over the